I'm Shane Nyland, and my co host is Blake Musser. And these stories you're about to hear are from Weapons Company, 2nd Battalion, 4th Marines, 1st Marine Division, about the events surrounding and directly from the mouths of the people who were in Ramadi 2004. All right, man. Let's introduce everybody who you are.
All right. My name's Jared Heath McKenzie. I was with MAP 3. I was a corporal while in Ramadi. They called me Heath, Mac, Mick, Kenzie. Latham called me Crazy Cracker there for a little bit, but that's who I was back then.
That's good, man.
Uh,
So, wherever you want to start, let's do it.
I mean, it was my 4 years in the Marines, it was kind of a crazy ride. I guess meeting you guys I met you guys as soon as I hit the fleet with 2-4 back in August, and of course September 11th happened, and come to find out that was my birthday. I turned 20 years old on that
Oh,
when the towers fell. I was coming off of duty, um,
no
so
shit.
yeah, I didn't get the boot basher like the rest of the guys for their birthday, so I got out of that because September 11th happened. Um, yeah.
I like to point out that 2-4 put you on duty for your birthday. That's
Yeah,
perfect.
it was perfect, man. It was I didn't mind it at all. They had to chase me down whenever if they wanted to get their licks in for my birthday, so it wasn't that bad. Um, but yeah, I mean, it was I don't even know where to start. Everything working up to Iraq. We had the 1 year in Okinawa, which was a crazy ride within itself because of the extension of Okinawa and everything.
Mhm.
Um, I didn't get the workup that you guys did, or a lot of the guys did, because as soon as as soon as we got back from Okinawa, I ended up pretty much going on temporary assignment to military police. I don't know if
Okay.
you guys remember that.
No.
No, I
Um,
don't remember that.
so we got the boot drop and everything while I was stationed or temporary assigned, like living on main side.
Hmm.
And I was getting training with the SRT, the
Were you
the
married?
no,
Oh, okay.
I got married literally right before deployment.
Hmm.
So I got married beginning of February and we got shipped out like 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
Okay.
February
Oh, wow.
16th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I was just wondering it since you were over on main side. I wasn't sure if that was because you were married or not. So,
No, I was on main side because I was part of the military police. I was doing
okay.
gate guard, and I was right along with patrolling,
Huh.
Now that you're talking about it, now I'm starting to remember this.
because that was when everybody got stop lost. So I was with a bunch of guys that was already out, got stop lost. They were, you know, some of them were pretty overweight, had beards, and they did not give two shits if you were sick and driving on base at that time, because they were
Nice.
supposed to be out at that already. So it was kind of crazy. And I think I found out about us going back to or going to Iraq in like Thanksgiving, I believe it was, like
Yeah.
a couple of days before Thanksgiving. And
That would make sense.
and they
Did you go to the ball that year with us?
no, I missed everything. I've yet to go to a ball. I never seen a ball at all. The um yeah, I found out like a couple of days before Thanksgiving. They told us that we're going back, and actually the Gunny Coleman is the one that called the MPs and said we need him back. He's coming back, and then after Christmas, I went home for like I think 10 days for Christmas or something, and then got back to the unit after Christmas. So I didn't get to go through just pretty much anything. with you guys. And then I got to back to 2-4, and it was all these new faces, all the new machine gunners, Kelly, like in our platoon, it was, Kelly and Pepper and um, all those guys, Cummins
Sure.
and Gordon. But it was pretty crazy. Like there was no workup for me really. And I was just talking to Conde, um, like all of like working with Conde through January, and then February we shipped off. But yeah, I've been listening to all this podcast, and it was pretty crazy. I guess we was on the same flight because we left March Air Force Base. I thought we stopped in Connecticut. It might have been New Jersey, but that was the first time like Munez and Fernandez ever seen snow.
Yeah.
Uh, and they and I did we go on like a PT run or something like that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we ran in
Yeah,
formation in the snow in New Jersey. We were there for 5 days, I think, or a week. We were there a while.
yeah. And then because there was some problems with the plane, and then I remember getting to Germany, and we ended up staying in like the hangar for like 3 days.
Yeah.
And I remember going through the airport with like Silton. I forgot why they let us finally go into the actual civilians like airport, and
Mhm.
like I remember Cox buying the Stein and all that crazy crap. And uh because we had a fuel leak, and then of course flying into Kuwait, getting drunk on a plane with Weiler and all of them, packed in there like sardines.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I meant to say something. The only reason I actually got to go on that deployment was because of Gunny Coleman. I don't know if you know this, but on Thanksgiving Day, I drank a little bit too much and got caught before the military gate,
Oh.
Oh no.
trying to get back on base, and that's all been cleaned up. That all got cleaned up, of course, but I told Gunny Coleman, and he told me not to tell anybody, otherwise I'd be in deep shit, and they needed
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
So he uh, he saved my ass, and he even gave me a lawyer's phone number and told me and got it cleared up while I was in Iraq.
No
Uh,
shit.
yeah,
Dude,
it
that
was
That's
that guy
awesome.
was a fucking ninja. He did all kinds of stuff behind the
yeah,
scenes that nobody knew of. And it, I imagine I know he went to Echo Company and held together Echo Company while we were over. And man, he was really an asset. That dude really did a lot of good shit for a lot of people. That's cool to hear.
yeah. He was like, listen, Kinsey, I don't want to hear about this shit ever again. You understand? Here's a number, get it fixed. We'll see. I'm like, Gunny. Because I told my chain of command, oh well.
That's awesome.
Nice.
But yeah, that's that just that like sticks out to me. But then Kuwait, I think we ended up training with, like, I remember like some of the Brits we trained with a little bit over there in Kuwait
Mhm.
before going up.
You did.
Um, they had all this high speed, shit that we didn't have at the time. We were with like a part of the air wing, um, escorting them up to what's the air base just like east of
Got him.
the Tacadam.
Yeah.
Uh, they had way too many vehicles for like the 5 vehicles that
Oh
we
yeah.
had at security. Um, and I remember the one time we actually got a little bit of it was like not even major contact. It was just some pop shots, and one of the air wing guys was in the turret, but they didn't have a gun. He just had his M16, and he literally shot himself in the leg and almost shot the driver. Like the second day going up.
Jeez.
Yeah. Um, wasn't even in country like 3 days and shot himself on the leg. insane. But
Now,
once we
just curious, did you guys end up patching them up and evac from on site, or did you just?
on site, patched them up, evac on site, and it was like I don't know if you remember this. Like there's like three or four different Babylons that we drove through,
Yeah.
and it got patched up, got flown out, and then we just kept pushing through, dropped them off at uh, TQ, and went into Ramadi.
Yeah.
And I don't even know when that was. It's been so long, but we were, of course, in Kuwait for like I think it was like a week or something, and then drove up to Ramadi. I remember even before April, we got in some contact like before that, like
Mhm.
a like a small skirmish, and then of course April, shit just hit the fan.
Yeah.
Do you remember more of that engagement that you're talking about, the first one?
Uh, it's kind of like all of them kind of mixed into each other, but I know that we got into at least I mean, well, it could have been a couple hours, it could have been 30 minutes, but I remember the engagement because we had already before April 6th, we had already gotten into at least one. I know that because whenever we got in April 6th, it was like, well, this is what we're going to do this time. You know what I mean? Because we were
Ah,
we were tired of just doing a 360 and waiting for them.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, timeline wise, I don't know exactly when your convoy went across, but ours was March 6th was when we crossed the line of departure. And so we did the left seat, right seats for a week or so while the rest of the company joined us and got there. So I don't know exactly when you guys got there. I was new in country just like you were, and so I was very focused on what my platoon was doing. But it had to have been the 6th or the 7th. I mean, if you drove up in a convoy, those convoys all came back to back.
Right. I think didn't they space them like
A day or two apart, yeah, but I don't know how much. Yeah, it might have been March 8th. I'm not real sure.
yeah. But I remember like the because like we didn't have set trucks because sometimes I was in the back of a high back with Latham and Cox and those goofballs, and then sometimes like once we finally got some of the up armored vehicles, we ended up going no high backs and I ended up being a vehicle commander a couple of times and then back seat, you know so it was I remember like of course through April um we had the high backs and light skinned and it was just insane looking back like how open everything was and honestly how lucky we really were.
For sure.
true.
um Half doors or just canvas doors. I know you and Brown was doing a lot of welding and
Yeah.
um it was pretty insane.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Gunny Maruki was the one that was sort of instrumental in all that. What gear we couldn't steal when we were in Kuwait, because I know Blake and his platoon stole a bunch of armored door, or not stole, but recovered a bunch of armored doors from a gear dump. Well, I mean, it wasn't really stole because
Fully
it was,
acquired.
I don't know that it was assigned to us, but it was in a gear
No.
dump from a unit who was
Yeah.
leaving country. So there's no reason why our unit shouldn't get it going into country. But you guys went and got a whole like two high backs full of doors, and that was the first of any doors that we had, and those were the half doors. And then yeah, me and Brown and Monroe and Savage and a few other people all like welded together pieces and welded together doors and welded together pintle mounts in order to make it so we had anything at all because there just wasn't gear that was made for this type of mission. You've mentioned April a couple times now. I know you were in the back of that. Well, I don't know that, but I've heard other people mention you were in the back of the high back on April 6th. You want to talk a little
Yes.
about that?
um Yeah, it was kind of crazy. So I don't remember who the driver was. I know Conde was vehicle commander. I think Brown or Pepper was the gunner, and me and Latham was sitting in the back with a gunner. Um, and we hear, I mean, it was a medium size, like I don't even remember what it was because we ended up recovering the machine gun. It was a belt fed machine gun in an
Mhm.
alleyway, but we started hearing like zipping right over our heads. And it was like little firecrackers. And me and Latham kind of just looked at each other like, oh shit. um, well, we know where they're coming from now. It's behind me. Thank God I got my head down. But we jump out, and I just hear Connie's like, "Let's go!" So me and Cox just take off with him, and we got because the previously we already got in contact, and we was just kind of setting up a 360, waiting for them to come to us, and they never came to us. So we take off with Condi, and like they were like almost like whack-a-mole. Like it was coming out of windows and rooftops, and almost like this is like like shooting doves. You know what I mean? It was like they're everywhere, and we're getting shot at from every angle, and we've got engaged on the right and the left, and we're just following Condi, and he's seeing him up on the rooftop, and he comes to a corner, and he gets like it just through and through on his shoulder, his left shoulder, and I'm like literally right behind him, and it was like slow motion. Like I see it, I'm like, holy fuck, you're hit, you know, and kind of jerk him back, and there's three guys literally on like in the alley right next to they're in the little side street right next to us, and we take him out, and Condi Lardy's jumping back up. He gets patched up. We come back, try to fall back to where the vehicles are, and Brown and Pepper and Kelly and those guys are already kind of setting up their vehicles because Rapazzo was instrumental on like setting up vehicles in the right spots in the right time.
Mhm.
They were like literally bounding and just taking out rooftops of all the different people, and it was kind of crazy. Um, Condi, of course, gets patched up. He gets like Doc Dialco like rips his sleeve off and puts bandages on him, and he's still Condi's still running around with his one arm. It was um and then like we're still trying. I think we're the whole reason out we went out there is because golf company, I believe, was pinned down in a certain area,
Yeah.
if I remember correctly.
Mhm.
um and we were trying to get to them, and literally had to fight to get to them and then help some of the wounded get out. And I think Gentili, I think that was the same day he got his jaw blown off. And like, I mean, it was pretty crazy. He had his jaw blown off, and he had one hand on his jaw and one hand on his weapon, still walking around. Um, and what I then right after that, we get we link up with the rest of the golf company or the golf platoon that was out there with, and they just had the the sheet or whatever it is, the thin like warmer sheet. I forgot what it's called. It's like the um
That foil blanket.
foil blanket, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, and we already saw the helmet and everything like full of blood, and that's when really like hits you that this is fucking real. Like you could really get hurt because before even going up, like before the little engagements and stuff like that, you didn't. It almost did feel like real. You know, everybody says that you think you're invincible until you realize you're not. Well, that was my
Yeah.
that was my moment. Like I was like, it was like like a fucking video game. You know, like just point and shoot, and you know. And when we picked up that body, it really hit because you could feel that there was no lifeless. It was completely lifeless in his body. Um, and then put him in the back of I think we put him in the back of the high back. Um, I don't I don't remember the some of the army did end up showing up a- after I think it was several hours at that time. And then again, I might be wrong. That might be the next day because we got in a pretty big engagement the next day also.
Yep.
I know M113s, the Bradleys showed up one of those 2 days because that is the best sound in the world, hearing the Bradley gun go off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Electric, electric belt fed, whatever. Just oh man, it was like just completely Swiss cheese of everything. Um, but they didn't want you to get next to them because apparently they had reactive armor or something.
Mm.
So, but we loaded up the M113s and got a bunch of the casualties out, and we did hit a house the same day or same time that the same day that Conde got shot because he still had the bandage on his arm when we had Silton drive through the gate and we found a big cache of weapons and everything. He
Mm.
was um because I mean everybody was shooting at us. I think it was like, oh, the Americans are here. Let's just shoot at them while they're standing out there. So, but yeah, I remember the colonel and sergeant major of the first ID coming out there, either like I said, the sixth or the seventh, and giving us ammo and like the yellow workman's gloves from the colonel. I'm like, this guy's nuts. Like he couldn't find their gloves. Like it was pretty crazy. But yeah, those 2 days kind of intertwine with each other because it's just like a big blur.
Yeah, you were out. I'm curious how long you think you were out on on those 2 days because I know what it approximately is from the official accounts, but I'm curious from your perspective how it felt.
I mean, because it's been so long, I mean, how what is the official accounts? I was thinking it was like 4 or 5 hours, but I
You,
don't.
I think your first day you were out is 6 hours, maybe a little more. And
Yeah.
then the second day was much longer. The second day, as far as I know, because you guys got, and you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong, but what I have on my notes is that you guys got hit again, or you went out again, and the XO was with you, supposedly, and they were fighting near the soccer fields initially. And then you moved up north from the soccer fields, and there was like I think there was some kind of graveyard that was nearby there.
The
That all
grades.
sound.
Yeah, I remember. Uh, is I remember, but I didn't think that was the same day because we had. I know it was a shitload of fighting. And we ended up linking up with either another platoon from Echo or Golf because they were doing instead of doing vehicle mounted patrols, they were doing foot patrols
Yeah.
throughout the city, and that's what we were going out to help. But
Mhm.
and there's just IEDs fucking everywhere. Like the crazy thing about Ramadi, I mean, you guys know, like we knew when we was about to get in a fight because it's 400 something thousand people that most of them didn't have jobs and they were everywhere on a normal day. And then when you was about to get in a shit storm because all of a sudden there's nobody on the streets and there's like, we're pulled down the street. Oh, there's tires blocking the street. There's nobody here. I wonder what's going on down here. Or like palm trees that are cut down and like
Yep.
what the fuck, guys? Like, here we go.
Yep. Yeah, a lot of the TTPs, as far as like the blocking the streets, was always interesting because it never really blocked the street, but it definitely let you know you were about to get in some shit. So at least all of a sudden you were more alert.
Yeah.
But yeah, putting barrels in the street or lighting shit on fire in the street, they would do that occasionally. The cut
Yeah.
down, I never had to cut down palm trees, but I know you guys did on Easy Street. That was they threw those in the middle of the street to try to block it.
Yeah. And it's like we're in a Humvee and we can just drive over it. They're not like tractor tires either. It's like little car tires. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh fuck, here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's yeah, I tell people like stories about that. I'm like, yeah, we knew where it's coming. We just didn't know where from exactly.
So I'm curious, you said a lot of fighting. And taking contact from all sides. That was my experience as well. I was in a different part of the city. I was in the north part of the city and fighting in the Sofia district. I'm curious, how many enemy do you think you were engaged with over the course of the day? And I know it's hard to count because you would shoot people and they'd disappear because they would drag off the bodies and throw them in trucks or hide them or whatever. So we never did see them.
So
Taxis, yeah.
yeah, the little orange and white taxis. We ran in. I mean, I would say thousands. I mean, because it felt like as soon as you knock one down, two more appear.
Yep.
So, you take a corner and you're like, where the fuck are all these people coming from? Like they're like popping out of doors and windows and they're on rooftops. The only good thing was like if they're on rooftops that you had a sense of like, where they were coming from for the simple fact that, each city block had a wall all the way around it.
Right.
So, at least most of the city did. So it was like, well, we know we've got like five over there, you know what I mean, in that block. So it was, but they were just running, shooting and ducking and running down the street. So, um, I'd say probably 1,000 at least.
Yeah. I always found the official counts interesting. When you look at the official counts for the first Battle of Ramadi, it says that there was about 1,000 killed that they could account for over the course from April 6th, 7th, and 10th. I would bet if I was betting, it's double or triple that number. But I just because of the exact same thing you're saying. And now I don't know what your platoon size was, but I know it was close to the same size as mine. You're talking about a platoon of somewhere between 20 to 25 guys,
Right.
literally surrounded, and you're probably killing 4 to 1. Like that's a major engagement at the very least. Like let's imagine you guys only shot 100 people, which I bet it was more than that. But that's a hell of a fucking fight. That's more than just like there was a lot of targets. Like you're truly outgunned and outnumbered.
Yeah, it was, I mean, uh, it was seriously like whack-a-mole. I mean, every time you hit one pops up, one or two pop up, but it was, it was crazy intense there for a short period of time. And it was, and that's something you can never even really say into words. Like
Yep.
most people won't even believe you anyway. So,
That's very true. No, I agree with that feeling too.
so it's just, and then the 10th, I mean, the 6th and 7th, it feels like it was all in one. And uh did we end up having helo support at all either one of those days, or was that the 10th?
So the 10th was the only day that I know that we had helos that came in and shot. We actually had Cobras that came in and ran guns.
Okay. Because I remember the helos on the 10th because another guy from golf company was killed on the 10th. Was originally from Nashville. Um, and I remember the helos being there that day. It's when First Sergeant Mack was with us on the 10th.
Okay.
And we had a huge open field and with palm trees, and we started getting engaged there also. But we couldn't get around to the actual golf company that got ambushed that day.
Hmm.
Do you remember employing any like specific tactics when you were I just went back to you talking about Rapazzo setting up the guns and you guys bounding down the streets, and then also your comment about setting up in a 360 on the first in couple engagements, but then when things
Yeah,
kicked off, actually pushing in. Like, do you remember like thinking about tactics and what you're being intentional, I guess is the word I would want to use?
well, of course, whenever we first got there, we were supposed to set up a 360 and then engage the targets as they come up. The the sixth, we already kind of discussed it. Like the trucks were supposed to follow. Like it wasn't like me and like Conde just said, "Hey, we're going after them," and we just took off because we were probably about 5 blocks from everybody else. That wasn't the plan, but nobody, nobody followed us. Nobody followed us like they were supposed to, and that's at least how I like to say it. Me and Condi and Cox did what we were supposed to do. Nobody else did. Um, because when we look back, we're like, oh shit, we're really far. No, thank God they didn't have very good tactics. They could have cut us off, but like the point was for us to get ahead of the vehicles, and the vehicles were supposed to come up and bound with us, and nobody else kind of they got so engaged where they were. As soon as we shot off, we had what was it, the MPK or whatever, that like the 8 RPK.
RPK
um
is the magazine fed machine gun. The RPD is the belt fed, usually, not always.
but RP whatever it is, that was what was shooting from the right hand side.
Uh-huh.
And um they already engaged them, they already killed that fucker, and we're like moving up to get more targets because I mean they were just literally coming from everywhere.
Yep.
So um the only thing we were trying to do was get to where we're supposed to link up with golf company anyway. So
It sounds like on the opposite side they were having the same issue. I don't know if you've read the accounts from Captain Bronzy and the other golf company QRF, but they were trying to do the same thing from the east side, and it looks like I assume this was a more coordinated effort because that was the intel that we got later, was that it was a coordinated effort, but that they had ambushed that foot patrol and then they were going to ambush the reinforcements. And then that's exactly what they did. They ambushed you guys coming in from the west, and they ambushed uh, Bronzy and the golf company QRF coming in from the east. And then Rainmaker tried to reinforce coming in kind of from Saddam's mosque somewhat, and they got ambushed also. I mean, they got hit with a medium machine gun. Exactly. I mean, at very close range, just like you said. So
yeah,
it sounds like that was their tactic, and it just didn't work out.
yeah, because we literally like cut it in half and just kept on going around them.
Yep.
Um, and then finally linked up with golf company, and that's when we saw Gentili and all them. And I remember either one of those 2 days during the firefight, we ended up shooting one of the transformers and lighting it on fire because it's got a shitload of fluid in it, and it's like neon green, and it lights on fire and it will fuck some shit up. Uh, it sparks with a Mark 19. Who would have thought? But anyway, um, But yeah, it was I don't even know how to explain it. Like it's just people everywhere. They just want to kill you, and you just got to shoot back and hope for the best.
You talked a
Um,
little about clearing houses. Did you guys enter a lot of houses during the 6th and the 7th, or just a few?
just a few on the 6th and the 7th. Of course, later on, we ended up going into a lot of different houses. Like especially bug hunt and all that, and
Yeah.
then uh after that, we ended up going out with ODA a few times and doing three. We started out going to Shark Base. I think it was Shark Base.
Hmm.
Um, Shark Base and picking them up. They'd have like one or two Humvees with them, and we'd do security, convoy security type things with them, and then set up a 360. And they finally let us raid the two houses next to their actual hit house.
Interesting.
Um, so we'd hit the two houses on one house on each side, and then they'd hit the middle one. And there's pretty much because that way they couldn't get to the roof and jump to one or the other.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
so that was pretty cool. It was those those were pretty nuts. Like the way they did things was just like things you never even thought of. Like they'd have you know pretty much a one of their informants in the back of their Humvee, and it's got a blacked out window in their Humvee, and they bring a guy out that they just got a bag over his head, and they lift the bag up, and the guy inside says yes or no, and if it's yes, they go in the fucking trunk. And we take them back to Shark Base. I'm like, that's nuts.
Yeah.
And it was pretty crazy, but yeah. But yeah, the like bug hunt, and then a couple of those with those guys from ODA. Pretty pretty awesome.
I know everything gets blurred together, especially 20 some odd years later. But after the big Battle of Ramadi, so 6th and 7th were the main big open ambushes and gunfights and the stuff that you're discussing. April 10th was the first bug hunt, and that was mostly up in the farm district of the Sofia district, partially. We later had like on the 11th, we had a quick memorial service for all the dudes that got killed between the 6th, 7th, and 10th. And then after that, there was a lot of stuff that happened in May. Anything stand out to you kind of after the Battle of Ramadi?
I mean, of course, I don't remember when Cummings got shot. Was that during bug hunt on the 10th?
So I'm not sure. I've gotten two different dates from two different people, but it was one of those days. It was either the 7th or the 10th.
All right,
Uh,
so it was the
Cox
10th.
Cox seems to think it was the 7th just because he wasn't there and he was staying back with the gear. And so I don't know. You would know more than me. It was your platoon.
It was it was definitely the 10th then, because we were on the north end,
Hmm.
on Route Nova, I think it was, like the very right on the River Road or whatever it is.
Yep, that's
Yeah.
Nova.
So because we went through Michigan and then circled back up north, and I think we had Rocco, and Williams is the one that grabbed him up because we were going towards the house, and for some reason we got called, like we got told to come back. I forgot who else was with us, but somebody, an officer, ended up being with us. Um, and we started coming back, and he actually got shot through the back, going back to the vehicles.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
and it was Williams is the one that actually grabbed him up, and we got him into the vehicle and just took off back to base. Um, so that was the 10th, because I remember there was it was like a mud house and palm trees in the front yard, and coming back is when he got shot. Coming back to the vehicle.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, that was that, and of course, uh, there's so much stuff. It was Latham shooting from the bridge. and make.
See, now it was really good to hear Latham's side of that, and you were up there, so I'd love to hear your
Yeah.
part of it too.
So we took shifts because both of us are big smokers, and you know, we're we hear the thump, like the like two or three thumps in the like out in the distance, like just north of the river, and we're like, oh, I wonder what the fuck that is. So we're like looking through the clue, and it was his turn on the gun. So he jumps up on the gun. I'm looking through the clue, and we're like I'm like talking on the radio, like, "Hey, we got this," and then we hear like. It took a couple of seconds before it to hit on the army side, and as soon as they're like, you have the go ahead, engage, and we're like, okay, and Latham starts opening up before I even get the clue up to find out what he's shooting at. He's like, it's somewhere over here. I'm like, okay.
Recon by fire.
I'm like, okay, I've got the clue up, and it'll like, oh yeah, go left, up,
Nice.
like put him on target, and ended up I guess your platoon Musser is the one that actually went up there and found it. It was
Yeah.
like makeshift tubes and everything.
Yeah, I got a picture of that actually. That's the wild. They were no dummies. They created that. That was a very cool looking rocket launcher thing that they made.
Yeah, and we got called to the base, the army base, and Latham was really, really hoping to get promoted, and it did not go out there very good. We got some stale ass cigars and like little Timu fans that run on AAA batteries. And I was
Yep.
like, oh, this is great. It's a little mister, that, yeah, I was like, oh, okay. Well, that's cool.
Yep. You got to meet General Mattis though.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think we met General Mattis even before that because he had the Bradleys and the M113s roll into our base on Hurricane Point before that, didn't he?
I have no idea. He came 3 times during our deployment, and there were random days that I don't remember. The only one I remember specifically was in June when his LAV convoy got hit by an IED. Outside of
Yes.
that, I don't know anything. I don't remember specific days when he was there, but yeah, he was there a few times.
Yeah, met him then, and then of course with First ID, we got a coin that says First ID
Nice.
and the fans and cigars. Uh, we smoked them, and yeah, I mean that's all we got. I'm like, that's cool, whatever. We're buying cigarettes from the little Haji store anyway. So
Yep. Anything else stand out to you from May or June?
just like we did a lot of patrolling and stuff like that. I mean, just like I mean, y'all remember it was like a 5 week rotation. I don't know if y'all like day day patrol, night or day patrol, day QRF, uh, night patrol, night QRF, and then guard duty. But after that, I remember the guys getting drunk up on the tower on
Mm-hmm.
the bridge and tripping the flares and everything. Um, a lot of it's a blur. Conde, of course, um, July 1st. He was when he passed the IED explosion.
Yeah, if you want to tell that one, feel free. That was I was gonna wait until you brought it up. So
Yeah. So yeah, Weiler was out there with us. We stayed out. I think it was overnight. We had like a observation post out there on the very like on the other side on the east side of town. And I don't remember what exactly that's I think it was the same area that y'all got shot at with the Abrams or whoever y'all got,
that was me.
back.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
you. Yeah. Um, Thank God they missed. But anyway, same area. We were out there, didn't really see anything, and then of course we drove down Route Michigan, and they somebody made the decision to turn around and make another pass. So we went back around, went back to uh, combat outpost on the east end, and then same route back, Route Michigan, and got hit. Um, it was in the high back. He got shrapnel like right in the forehead, right in between his eyes, pretty much. And it was half doors. Knackers got part of his thigh blown off, and Mitchell got like a finger or like something with his hand, shrapnel to his hand. As soon as we got Conde out, he was kind of, I don't know, kind of gurgling, but we got before even getting back to base, because he got life flighted out. Before even getting back to Hurricane Point, we got the signal that he was stable in the helicopter. But as soon as we got back after all that, they told us that he had passed. So I mean, it wasn't very long after that. So yeah, it was I remember that one pretty well.
Yeah, I do too, because I remember getting the news and coming over in the morning, and our two platoons meeting, and everybody was hurting. That's the easiest way to put it. Everybody was hurting. Everybody was sitting down with a big disbelief.
Yeah, because I mean, even before that, I mean, he was one of those Marines that didn't want to go home, and even he had every opportunity to go home, because his arm ended up being so numb that he couldn't even lift his left arm, and he ended up staying on light duty. He couldn't go back out for like a month and a half or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And during that period, I ended up stepping into his role and being the squad leader and everything. And then, of course, like 2 weeks after he came back is when that happened. So that hurt pretty bad. I blamed myself for a long time. So it was still hurts every once in a while.
I imagine. This is a somewhat inappropriate to ask, but I don't understand why you would blame yourself. There's nothing you had anything to do with.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just, survivor's guilt.
Okay.
Multiple therapists and everything else, but it's just, I don't know. It's one of those things that what could have, should have, would have. You know what I mean? He had his shit together. I did not.
Yeah. 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 I think there's always that feeling. You feel like you should have been somewhere different, or that maybe you should have said something different or done something different, and it would have been a different outcome. And I don't know that there's any way to predict that, because you could have drove down the road another 100 feet and there'd been another IED anyway, and it had got him or somebody else anyway, or you or anybody else.
If you like what you've heard, this is a multi-part episode. Make sure you listen to the rest of the story.